Ethan opened his eyes slowly, squinting against a soft, strange light. He blinked, trying to remember where he was. The last thing he recalled was exploring a remote planet on a small expedition. And now, he was somewhere else entirely. The walls around him glowed with faint, shifting colors, and the floor seemed almost alive, pulsing gently beneath him. He tried to move, but his body felt stiff. He sat up and took in the surroundings. The room was smooth, metallic, and unlike anything he had ever seen on Earth. Strange symbols glimmered on panels along the walls, and soft humming filled the air, a sound that seemed alive, like it was breathing. "Where am I?" he whispered, his voice shaky. Before he could look further, a door slid open silently, revealing a figure standing in the doorway. She was unlike any human he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered slightly in the light, her eyes a deep violet that seemed to hold galaxies within them. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, moving gently as if it had a life of its own. Ethan froze. Who are you?" The alien smiled softly. "I am Princess Liara," she said, her voice melodic and calm. "And you, stranger, are far from your home." Ethan swallowed hard. "Home? Yes. I think I'm on your ship." He glanced around nervously. "I don't even know how I got here." Liara stepped closer, her movements graceful and silent. "That is a long story. For now you must stay under my watch. It is not safe for you to wander freely." Ethan frowned, trying to understand. "Watch? Why? I'm not a threat." Liara tilted her head, studying him carefully. "Perhaps. But you arrived here under circumstances that are unusual, and prophecies do not usually involve humans. Yet here you are." Ethan blinked. "Prophecies? Humans? I think you're mistaken." She shook her head gently. "You may think so, but my people have awaited someone like you. Someone who does not belong to our stars, yet whose presence will change our destiny." Ethan rubbed his temples, feeling the weight of confusion pressing on him. "I'm just an explorer, that's all." Liara's expression softened. Even an explorer can have a destiny far greater than they imagine. For a moment, Ethan felt a strange pull, a mixture of awe and fear. Everything about this place, about Liara, was extraordinary. His human mind struggled to comprehend the technology around him. The panels along the wall seemed to respond to his movements, glowing brighter as he shifted. A soft, humming light floated along the floor, guiding his steps. Liara gestured toward a chair that rose from the floor silently. "Sit. You need rest. You are weary from your journey here, even if you do not remember it." Ethan sank into the chair, still unsure what to believe. The moment he touched it, the chair adjusted to his body perfectly, almost as if it recognized him. He looked up at Liara. "This technology, it's incredible." Liara smiled, a hint of pride in her expression. "Our people have traveled the stars for centuries. We understand things your kind is only beginning to imagine." Ethan leaned back, trying to calm himself. His head throbbed slightly, likely from the blackout he experienced during his exploration. He had been climbing a cliff on the alien planet when the ground gave way beneath him. He remembered falling, darkness swallowing him, and then nothing. Now he was here, in this alien environment, with a princess who spoke of prophecies. "I don't even know how I got here," Ethan muttered, more to himself than to her. Liara knelt slightly to meet his eyes. "That is part of the mystery, but your arrival was not an accident. The stars have guided you here." Ethan laughed nervously, shaking his head. "The stars? Princess, I think you're exaggerating." Liara's eyes glimmered. "Perhaps, or perhaps you have not yet seen the truth of your journey." A soft chime echoed through the room, drawing their attention to a screen that projected a holographic map of the galaxy. Bright streaks of light marked the paths of numerous ships, each moving with precision. One line pulsed toward their location, glowing red. Ethan leaned closer. "What is that?" "That," Liara said, her voice steady but urgent, "is someone or something approaching. We do not yet know if it is friend or foe, but we must be prepared." Ethan's heart raced. Approaching? Why? Why would anyone come here? And how do you know? Liara stood, her posture commanding yet elegant. "Our sensors can detect movements across vast distances. Whoever tracks us has power, and they seek the artifact aboard this ship, an artifact that is linked to your arrival." "My arrival?" Ethan's voice rose in surprise. What artifact? I don't even know what's going on." Liara's expression softened. "All will be explained in time. But for now, you must trust me. Your presence here is essential. You are not just a visitor. You are a participant in a story far larger than yourself." Ethan ran his hands through his hair, feeling overwhelmed. "I don't even know what I'm supposed to do." Liara approached and placed a hand on his shoulder. "For now, you do nothing but recover. Soon, your choices will matter more than you can imagine." Ethan looked into her eyes, feeling a strange sense of calm despite the chaos around him. There was honesty in her words, a conviction he couldn't ignore. A soft alarm sounded, and the lights in the room shifted to a deeper hue. Liara's expression became serious. "We have little time. You must learn our ways quickly. The safety of the ship and perhaps many worlds depends on it." Ethan swallowed hard, realizing that his ordinary life as an explorer was gone. He was part of something far larger now, an adventure that spanned the stars, with a princess who seemed to care about him in ways he could not yet understand. "Okay," he said finally, his voice steadying. "I'll try. I don't know what else I can do." Liara nodded, a small smile returning to her face. "Good. We start with understanding the ship and then we move forward. Every step will teach you something new." Ethan followed her as she guided him through the ship. The hallways seemed alive, flowing like water, walls bending subtly as if the ship were breathing. Panels lit up as they approached, responding to their presence. Ethan could feel the intelligence of the ship, almost like it was aware of him, guiding his path. They entered a large chamber filled with holographic displays. Liara gestured to them. "These are our records, our history, and our knowledge of the galaxy. You will learn to navigate this technology. It may feel strange, but I believe you have a natural talent." Ethan stepped closer, awestruck. "It's beautiful. And so much information." Liara watched him closely. "Yes. But knowledge is only powerful when used wisely. And soon, you will need to use it to protect more than just yourself." For the first time since waking, Ethan felt a spark of excitement. Despite the fear and confusion, there was something exhilarating about this unknown adventure. He was far from home, but for the first time he felt that he might belong somewhere among the stars. As the soft hum of the ship surrounded them, Ethan realized one undeniable truth. His life had changed forever. And somewhere deep down, he knew that waking up on this alien ship, beside a princess who would not let him leave, was only the beginning of something incredible. The stars outside the windows shimmered like promises, and Ethan understood that nothing would ever be ordinary again. Ethan followed Princess Liara through the winding corridors of the alien ship. Every step he took seemed to trigger a reaction from the ship itself. The walls shifted slightly, the lights brightened, and soft hums echoed through the floors. It was as if the ship was alive and aware of him. "This ship is incredible," Ethan said, looking around. It's like nothing I've ever seen." Liara smiled faintly. "It is. Our ancestors built it for exploration, protection, and knowledge. And now, you will learn to move within it as we do. It will not be easy, but I believe you are capable." Ethan tried to absorb her words, though his mind was racing. He was still adjusting to everything: the alien princess, the advanced technology, the strange soft glow of the walls, and the sense that this ship had a purpose far beyond anything on Earth. "Where do we start?" he asked. Liara led him into a circular chamber, its walls lined with floating holograms. Stars, planets, and ships swirled in glowing patterns, shifting as though alive. The floor beneath them glimmered, reflecting the lights above. Ethan's eyes widened in awe. "This is our navigation chamber," Liara explained. "Here, we track the galaxy and plan our journeys. But there is more than navigation here. This chamber holds knowledge, history, and secrets. If you learn it, you can understand not only the stars but the lives and choices of countless civilizations." Ethan stepped closer to a holographic planet, reaching out to touch it. The image rippled under his fingers, reacting instantly to his touch. He gasped. "It responds to you," he whispered. Liara nodded. "Yes. The ship adapts to those it trusts. You are not entirely human in your ways of thinking, Ethan. That is why you are important." Ethan blinked. "Not entirely human?" Liara's eyes glimmered. "Humans are known for their curiosity, intuition, and resilience. These qualities are rare among many advanced species. You possess them, and they will help you in ways you cannot yet imagine." Ethan felt a mix of pride and nervousness. I just want to understand. I want to help if I can." "Good," Liara said softly. "Helping is the first step. Understanding is the second. And courage. Courage will come when it is most needed." For hours, Liara guided Ethan through the ship's systems. He learned to interact with the holographic panels, to navigate star charts, and even to manipulate the ship's energy flows. At first it was overwhelming. His human mind struggled to comprehend the complexity of alien technology. But slowly, his instincts kicked in. He discovered patterns, ways to operate the ship that seemed natural. Liara watched him closely, impressed by his progress. "You learn quickly," she said. "That is unusual. Most take weeks, even months, to adapt. Yet you seem to have a natural understanding." Ethan shrugged, still focused on the holographic charts. I don't know. Maybe it's just luck." Liara tilted her head, a playful smile on her lips. "Luck, perhaps. But you also have courage. That is far rarer than luck." As the hours passed, Ethan began to feel a strange connection to the ship. It hummed under his hands, seemed to anticipate his thoughts, and sometimes even guided him to the correct panels before he realized what he needed to do. It was as if the ship recognized him as part of its purpose. Suddenly, an alert rang through the chamber. A holographic screen appeared, showing a group of alien diplomats standing in the ship's main hall. Their expressions were serious, and they seemed to watch Ethan with suspicion. "Who are they?" Ethan asked, frowning. "They are representatives from neighboring systems," Liara explained. "They do not trust humans. Your presence here, it makes them uneasy. We must show them that you mean no harm." Ethan swallowed. "And if they don't believe me?" Liara's violet eyes met his. "Then we will face the challenge together. You are not alone." Taking a deep breath, Ethan followed Liara to the hall. The diplomats regarded him cautiously, their alien features sharp and formal. Ethan felt the weight of their judgment, their centuries of experience, and their mistrust pressing down on him. Liara stepped forward, raising her hands slightly in a gesture of peace. "These are our guest and ally, Ethan. He arrived under unusual circumstances, yes. But he is not here to harm us. He will help protect the ship and our people." The diplomats exchanged glances. One stepped forward, a tall figure with glowing eyes. "Princess Liara, how can you trust a human? Our records show that humans are unpredictable and dangerous." Ethan straightened, trying to show confidence. "I may be human," he said, "but I've only ever tried to explore, learn, and help. I'm not here to cause harm." There was a tense pause. The diplomats studied him carefully. Finally, Liara spoke. "Watch his actions, not his species. He is learning our ways and proving his worth." The diplomats murmured among themselves. Ethan felt the pressure, but he also felt a strange pride. He had never imagined he would face such judgment. yet he stood firm. As the diplomats departed, still skeptical, Liara turned to him. "You handled that well." Ethan exhaled. "I didn't know what else to do. They looked serious." "They are," Liara said. "And that is why you must continue to learn. Your understanding of our ways will earn trust where words cannot." They returned to the navigation chamber where Ethan resumed his lessons. Hours passed and Ethan began to grasp more of the ship's systems. He learned to adjust the energy flows, navigate the stars, and even communicate with the ship as if it were a living partner. Liara watched him quietly, her expression softening. "You are doing more than just learning," she said. "You are becoming part of this ship and part of our story." Ethan felt a warmth at her words. He had been so lost, so uncertain when he first woke up here, but now, with every discovery, every skill he learned, he felt more capable. He was no longer just an explorer, he was part of something greater. Later, as they walked along a corridor, Liara paused. "There is something you should see," she said. She led him to a private chamber filled with holographic images of the galaxy. Some of the planets glowed brighter than others, and strange symbols hovered over certain systems. "These are the locations that need our protection," Liara explained. "Some are vulnerable to those who would seek to dominate or destroy, and some are connected to you, Ethan." Ethan frowned. "Connected to me? How?" Liara smiled faintly. "You do not yet know, but your instincts, your courage, and your presence are linked to the safety of many worlds. That is why you are here." Ethan felt a mix of awe and fear. I don't know if I'm ready for that." "You will be," Liara said firmly. "We all grow when the time comes. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the strength to move forward despite it." As they left the chamber, Ethan realized how much he had changed in just one day. Had woken up lost, confused, and uncertain. Now he was learning, growing, and beginning to understand his place in a story far larger than anything he had imagined. But even as he felt excitement, a part of him remained cautious. The galaxy was vast, the ship was powerful, and unknown threats lurked in the shadows. He knew that their journey would not be easy. Liara noticed his thoughtful expression. "Do not worry too much about what lies ahead," she said softly. "Focus on what you can learn today. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges." Ethan nodded. "I'll try. But I can't help feeling that something is coming. Something big." Liara's violet eyes met his, serious and steady. "It is, and when it arrives you will need to be ready. That is why I am teaching you now. You are not just a visitor on this ship, Ethan. You are part of its fate." As the ship hummed around them, Ethan felt a strange comfort. Despite the unknowns, despite the aliens and advanced technology, he knew one thing clearly. He was no longer alone, and for the first time since waking up on this alien ship, he felt that he belonged. The stars outside the ship's windows sparkled, as if reminding him that adventures awaited, and that his journey had only just begun. Ethan had just begun to feel at home on the alien ship when alarms echoed throughout the corridors. Red lights flashed, and the soft hum of the ship grew tense, almost anxious. He exchanged a quick glance with Princess Liara. "They've found us," she said, her voice steady but urgent. "Prepare yourself. This will not be a simple encounter." Ethan's heart raced. "Found us? Who?" Liara's eyes darkened. "A fleet from the neighboring systems. They seek the artifact aboard this ship, and now they are determined to take it." Before Ethan could respond, the ship shuddered. Lights flickered as engines roared to life. The walls seemed to ripple and the floor vibrated beneath their feet. Liara grabbed his hand, pulling him along. "Hold on," she warned. "We must leave immediately." The corridor shifted as they ran. The ship responded to Liara's commands, moving like a living creature, bending and twisting to avoid detection. Ethan struggled to keep up, but marveled at the fluidity of the ship's movements. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced. "Ethan," Liara called over the hum of the engines. You must help me navigate. I need your instincts." "My instincts?" Ethan shouted, panic rising. I don't know how." "Yes, you do," Liara said sharply. "Trust yourself. Trust what you've learned." Ethan took a deep breath, focusing on the holographic display in front of him. Ships moved along their paths outside, red streaks marking the pursuing fleet. He noticed patterns, the gaps between their formations, and pointed to a route. "Here!" he shouted. "If we go this way, we can slip past them." Liara's eyes lit up with approval. "Good! Engage now!" The ship responded instantly, twisting and bending as it accelerated through the path Ethan had identified. Energy shields flared as the fleet fired, but the ship moved with an elegance no human vessel could match. Ethan grinned, heart pounding with excitement and fear. For hours, they darted through asteroid fields, nebula clouds, and star clusters. Ethan began to understand the rhythm of the ship, its responses, and even its subtle guidance. He felt connected, as if he were part of it, guiding it as much as it guided him. During a brief moment of calm, Liara spoke, her voice soft. "You are doing well, Ethan. I did not expect someone from your world to adapt so quickly." Ethan, still catching his breath, smiled nervously. I guess I just try to think ahead. And, well, I have a good teacher." Liara's smile deepened. "Perhaps, but it is more than that. You see things differently, and that difference is exactly what we need." They continued their flight, but Ethan knew that danger was never far. The fleet was relentless, and their energy weapons could pierce even the ship's advanced shields if given the right opportunity. He watched as Liara skillfully maneuvered the ship, and he felt a growing admiration for her courage and skill. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected something unusual. A small vessel, hidden in a nebula cloud, moved rapidly toward them. Ethan's eyes widened. "Liara, there's another ship. It's coming fast." Liara's hand flew over the controls. "I see it. Prepare yourself. This may be the real test." The small vessel shot out of the nebula like a streak of lightning, firing energy beams that struck the ship's shields. Ethan felt the vibrations through the floor. Sparks flew from nearby panels. The chase was no longer just a pursuit. It had become a battle. Ethan leaned forward, scanning the holographic displays. "If we divert toward that asteroid belt, we can use it as cover. They won't be able to follow us closely." Liara hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Do it." The ship twisted sharply, accelerating toward the asteroid belt. Rocks the size of buildings floated around them, but the ship moved with perfect precision. The pursuing vessel struggled to keep up, colliding with asteroids and forcing it to slow down. "Nice thinking, Ethan," Liara exclaimed. Ethan felt a surge of pride. I just tried to use what I saw, that's all." As they passed through the asteroid belt, Liara turned to him, her eyes serious. "You have courage and you have cleverness. Together, those qualities make you invaluable." Ethan looked at her, unsure how to respond. He had never imagined being called invaluable by a princess from another world. And yet, there was a sincerity in her words he could not ignore. The chase continued for hours, weaving through star clusters and near supernova remnants. Ethan began to notice subtle patterns in the fleet's movements. They were skilled, coordinated, but predictable in their strategy. He pointed out maneuvers, suggesting ways to evade and counterattack. Each time, Liara followed his instructions and the ship responded perfectly. "Ethan," Liara said quietly during a brief moment of calm, "you are becoming part of this ship, and not just part, you are shaping its journey." Ethan felt a strange warmth. He had started the day lost, confused, and terrified. Now, he was guiding a vessel through dangerous space side by side with a princess who trusted him completely. But there was little time to reflect. A sudden warning flashed across the control panel. Multiple vessels from the fleet were converging on their location. Liara's hands moved over the controls with practiced precision. "They are closing in. We must act quickly." Ethan studied the display, his mind racing. He noticed an unusual gap in the formation, a weak point they could exploit. "Here, We can break through here. It's risky, but it might work. Liara's eyes met his. Then we risk it together. The ship surged forward, breaking through the enemy formation. Energy beams struck the hull, but the ship moved with agility and precision, dodging most attacks. Sparks flew across the deck, alarms blaring, but Ethan felt exhilarated. We're making it, he shouted over the chaos. Liara grinned, briefly. Yes, keep watching, keep guiding. Hours of flight and combat passed, each moment a test of skill and courage. Ethan's human intuition complemented Liara's mastery of the ship. Together, they evaded the fleet, outsmarted their attackers, and managed to protect the artifact that was the object of pursuit. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the ship entered a region of space where the pursuing fleet could not follow easily, a dense nebula that interfered with sensors and weapons. Ethan collapsed into a seat, exhausted but alive. Liara sat beside him, her expression thoughtful. You have done well, Ethan. I have never seen someone adapt so quickly under pressure. Ethan wiped sweat from his brow. I didn't do it alone. The ship, it helped. And you were amazing. Liara's violet eyes softened. Perhaps. But courage, ingenuity, and trust, those are your gifts. You see solutions where others see only danger. That is why you are important. Ethan smiled weakly. Important. I never imagined I would be called that. You are, Liara said simply. And soon, you will see why your presence here is crucial. This chase was only the beginning. As they rested, the stars outside shimmered like distant beacons. Ethan realized that his life on Earth, his ordinary life, was far behind him. Here, among the stars, he had found purpose, adventure, and a bond with someone extraordinary. Liara placed a hand on his shoulder. The galaxy is vast, Ethan. Danger lurks everywhere, but so do opportunities. Together, we will face them. Ethan nodded, feeling a mixture of exhaustion and excitement. He had survived the chase, learned to trust his instincts, and discovered that courage could lead to unimaginable victories. And as the ship glided silently through the nebula, he knew one undeniable truth. His adventure with Princess Liara was only beginning, and the stars held challenges and wonders he had never dreamed possible. The alien ship groaned as it entered the atmosphere of a strange, uncharted planet. Ethan clung to a railing, his heart pounding. Sparks flew from damaged panels, and the floor shivered beneath their feet. Liara's hands flew across the controls, her movement swift and precise. We have no choice, she said, her voice steady but tense. The fleet is too close. We must land here and hide until it is safe. Ethan swallowed, looking out the window at the planet below. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. Dense forests of glowing plants, rivers that shimmered with an unusual light, and towering mountains that seemed to pierce the clouds. It was beautiful, but alien in every way. The ship shuddered violently as it touched the surface. Dust and strange mist surrounded them. Ethan grabbed Liara's arm instinctively. Are we safe? For now, she replied, her eyes scanning the instruments. But we cannot remain here too long. The fleet may track us. The landing gear groaned as the ship settled. Ethan followed Liara out of the ship, stepping onto the soft, glowing soil. The air was thick and humid, with a faint scent that reminded him of Earth forests, but sharper, almost electric. Strange creatures moved in the distance, their glowing eyes watching from the shadows. This planet, it's alive, Ethan said quietly, awe mixed with caution. Liara nodded. It is, and it is unforgiving. We must be careful. They began to explore a safe perimeter around the ship. Ethan noticed the plants reacted to their movements, curling slightly or pulsing with light. He reached out to touch one, but Liara stopped him. Not yet, she warned. Some can be dangerous. Observe first. Hours passed as they studied the immediate area. Ethan marveled at the alien wildlife, small creatures that floated like jellyfish in the air, larger predators, moving silently among the trees. Each moment reminded him how out of place he was, yet strangely, he felt alive. As night fell, the forest lit up with bioluminescent plants, casting a soft glow over the terrain. Ethan and Liara set up a temporary camp near the ship, using alien technology to create a protective barrier. "I can't believe how strange this planet is," Ethan said, staring at the glowing flora. "It's beautiful, but dangerous." Liara smiled faintly. "Beauty and danger often go hand in hand. That is a lesson you must remember. Survival here requires observation, patience, and courage." Ethan nodded, feeling the truth in her words. He had relied on instincts before, but here, every choice mattered. One wrong step could lead to disaster. During their watch, they heard distant sounds, echoes of movement through the dense forest. Ethan tensed. "Liara, something's out there." Liara placed a calming hand on his shoulder. "Stay still. Observe first." A pair of glowing creatures emerged from the mist, their bodies sleek and covered in scales that reflected light like mirrors. They moved cautiously, sniffing the air. Ethan held his breath, unsure what they would do. "They don't seem hostile, yet," Liara whispered. "We will remain calm." The creatures circled, then disappeared into the trees. Ethan exhaled, realizing how close danger had been. That was intense. Liara studied him closely. "And you remained calm. That is progress, Ethan. You are learning to survive here." Over the next days, Ethan and Liara explored more of the planet. They discovered strange fruit that glowed softly but were edible, water sources with purifying minerals, and hidden paths that allowed them to move safely without being seen. Ethan learned to combine human ingenuity with Liara's alien knowledge. He crafted simple tools using natural resources, learned to track creatures for safety, and even improvised ways to repair some minor ship damage. One evening, as they rested by a glowing river, Liara looked at Ethan with a serious expression. "Ethan, I must tell you something. I feel a bond with you. It is unusual for me as a princess, but I cannot ignore it." Ethan felt a warmth spread through his chest. I feel it too, Liara. I've never met anyone like you, and I don't want to be apart from you." Liara smiled softly. "Then we will face this together. Your courage, your mind. They are part of why I trust you." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alarm from the ship. Ethan and Liara ran back to investigate. The fleet had arrived, hovering in orbit above the planet. Their large ships cast shadows on the glowing forests below. Liara's expression hardened. "They found us." Ethan's pulse quickened. "Then, we fight?" Liara shook her head. "Not yet. We hide, and we survive. Fighting here would be foolish, but I have a plan." She led Ethan to a hidden cave system that the ship's sensors had detected. Inside, the walls glowed faintly with minerals that powered their alien devices. They set up defensive positions, using the natural formations as cover. Hours passed in tense silence. The fleet scanned the planet, firing occasional bursts, but the dense forests and glowing minerals interfered with their sensors. Ethan marveled at Liara's strategy. It combined patience, observation, and the clever use of the environment. During a brief lull, Ethan worked on repairing minor damages to the ship using materials from the planet. Liara watched him, impressed by his determination. "Your creativity is remarkable, Ethan. Humans often surprise me." Ethan chuckled softly. "I'm just trying to help. You're the expert here. I follow your lead." Liara placed a hand on his arm. "And that is why we work well together. Courage, creativity, and trust. These are our strengths." As the day turned to night, the fleet grew restless. Ethan noticed movement among the trees, predators drawn by the ship's energy signals. He pointed them out to Liara, and together, they devised a trap using the planet's natural energy sources. The predators were harmlessly diverted, and Ethan realized that this alien world required not just strength but understanding. Observation, Knowledge and clever thinking were just as important as courage. Over time, Ethan and Liara grew stronger, not just physically, but in their bond. They shared stories of Earth and Liara's planet, laughed at small mistakes, and encouraged each other when fear arose. Ethan began to understand Liara's responsibilities as a princess, the weight of leadership, the pressure of expectation, and the courage it took to guide her people. One evening, as they rested under a sky filled with unfamiliar constellations, Ethan spoke quietly. "Liara, I don't know how I ended up here, but I'm glad I did. I've never felt alive like this before." Liara's eyes softened. "And I am glad you are here, Ethan. You bring balance, perspective, and courage that few possess. Together we can face whatever comes next." The night passed, and Ethan felt a sense of calm he had never experienced. He had gone from being lost and confused to surviving, learning, and even thriving on a dangerous alien world. The challenges were far from over, but he felt ready to face them with Liara by his side. As dawn approached, Ethan looked out at the glowing forests. The fleet was still above, but they had gained time, learned the planet's secrets, and strengthened their bond. Ethan realized that survival here was not just about avoiding danger, it was about understanding, adapting, and working together. Liara stood beside him, her hand brushing his. "Today we have survived. Tomorrow, we will plan our next move. The galaxy does not wait, Ethan. Neither can we." Ethan nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. He had faced fear, learned to trust his instincts, and discovered the strength within himself. And as he looked at Liara, he knew that their partnership was more than necessity. It was trust, respect, and a growing bond that neither distance nor danger could break. The glowing forest stretched endlessly before them, a reminder that the galaxy was vast, full of wonders and challenges. But for the first time since waking on this alien ship, Ethan felt certain of one thing. Together he and Liara could face anything. The strange planet was quiet now, its glowing forests calm beneath the distant sun. Ethan and Liara stood at the edge of a cliff, looking up at the alien ship that had carried them through so many dangers. The fleet that had pursued them was gone for now, but their presence lingered like a shadow across the stars. Liara turned to Ethan, her violet eyes serious. "Ethan, the time has come. You need to understand the full truth about your arrival." Ethan frowned. "Truth? I thought I was just here by accident." Liara shook her head. "No. The prophecy I spoke of is real. You did not come here by chance. Humans, your kind, are connected to our people in ways long forgotten, and your presence aboard this ship is a key part of what is to come." Ethan's pulse quickened. "Connected? How?" Liara gestured toward the stars. "Many centuries ago, our ancestors made a pact with your species. It was forgotten over time. But the artifact aboard this ship, the one the fleet seeks, is linked to that pact. Only a human can unlock its power safely." Ethan swallowed hard. "And that means me?" "Yes," Liara said firmly. "You were chosen not by chance but by fate. And now you must decide how to use this knowledge and your courage to protect our people." Ethan felt a mixture of fear and awe. He had come from Earth as an ordinary explorer, and now he held the key to a galaxy-wide balance. I don't know if I can do it." Liara placed a hand on his shoulder. "Courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting despite it. And you have proven time and again that you are capable." Ethan nodded, determination building in his chest. Together they returned to the ship. The vessel had recovered slightly from the previous battle, but repairs were still needed. Ethan worked alongside Liara, combining human ingenuity and alien technology to restore critical systems. As they worked, Liara explained more about the artifact. It was a crystalline device, small but powerful, capable of channeling energy from the stars themselves. In the wrong hands, it could bring destruction. In the right hands, it could protect countless worlds. Finally, the ship was ready to move. Ethan and Liara prepared for the final confrontation. Sensors detected the fleet approaching once more, but this time, they were not alone. Several allied ships from nearby systems, alerted by Liara's messages, arrived to support them. Liara turned to Ethan. "This is our moment. We must protect the artifact, and each other." Ethan felt his heart pounding. I'm ready. Let's do this." The battle began as soon as they entered space. The fleet moved in formation, firing beams of energy. Ethan and Liara guided the ship expertly, dodging attacks while coordinating with the allied vessels. Ethan used his knowledge of human tactics and instincts, predicting enemy movements and suggesting maneuvers that even Liara had not considered. "Left, now," Ethan shouted. "They'll expect a right turn." Liara executed the move flawlessly. The fleet struggled to adjust, and several enemy ships collided with each other or were forced to retreat. Ethan felt a surge of pride and relief. But the true challenge was still ahead. A massive vessel larger than any they had faced emerged from the fleet. Its hull gleamed darkly, and it moved with terrifying speed and precision. Liara's hands flew across the controls. "This is the flagship," she said. "It must be stopped or all will be lost." Ethan's mind raced. He remembered the artifact, its energy, and the knowledge Liara had shared. He realized the ship itself could channel the artifact's power if they combined their efforts. "Liara, I think we can use the artifact through the ship," Ethan said quickly. "We can amplify its energy and create a shield to protect everyone." Liara's eyes widened. "It is risky. One mistake, and the energy could destroy us." "I know," Ethan said, "but we don't have another choice." Together, they coordinated the ship's systems. Liara stabilized the energy flows while Ethan guided the artifact's power. Light surged through the ship, glowing brighter than the stars around them. The flagship fired its weapons, but the shield held, deflecting the attacks. Ethan felt the energy coursing through him. Fear and determination mingled, but he focused on Liara's guidance. Together, they directed the power outward, forcing the enemy flagship back. Sparks and energy beams collided, shaking the surrounding ships. Finally, with a coordinated surge, the flagship was disabled. The remaining enemy vessels, seeing their leader fall, retreated in disarray. Ethan and Liara watched as the fleet disappeared into the stars. They had won. Liara turned to Ethan, a soft smile on her face. "You did it. Together we protected the artifact and in countless worlds." Ethan exhaled, relief flooding through him. "We did it. I can't believe it." "You should," Liara said, taking his hand. "You are more than you realize. Courage, ingenuity, and heart. These are your gifts, and they have saved more than you know." For the first time since waking on this alien ship, Ethan felt a deep sense of accomplishment. He had gone from being a confused explorer to a vital part of an interstellar victory. The ship's systems hummed softly as they restored themselves. Ethan looked around at the glowing panels, feeling a connection not only to the ship but to Liara, to the galaxy, and to his own abilities. Liara stepped closer. "Ethan, there's one more thing. You are no longer just a visitor here. I want you to stay, not only as a guest but as my partner, in leadership, in exploration, and in life." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. "Partner?" he repeated, a smile forming. "You mean together?" "Yes," Liara said simply, her violet eyes shining. "I have never trusted anyone like this, and I cannot imagine facing what comes next without you by my side." Ethan felt a warmth spreading through him. I don't know what to say, but yes, I'll stay by your side." Liara smiled, placing her hand over his. "Then it is decided. Together, we will face the stars, protect our people, and explore the unknown. No challenge will be too great." Ethan looked out at the galaxy, the stars stretching endlessly before them. He thought of Earth, of the ordinary life he had left behind, and of the extraordinary journey he had undertaken. He realized that he had grown, learned, and discovered courage he never knew he had. "Ready?" Liara asked. her voice gentle but full of determination. Ethan nodded. Ready? The ship lifted off from the planet, engines glowing brightly as they soared into space. The stars seemed to welcome them, guiding their path. Ethan and Liara stood side by side, united not only by circumstance but by trust, courage, and an unbreakable bond. As they traveled together, the galaxy spread before them, vast, full of wonder, and waiting to be explored. Ethan realized that destiny had brought him here, but it was his choices, his courage, and his partnership with Liara that would shape the future. And for the first time since waking on the alien ship, he felt truly at home among the stars.